Давайте начинать. Итак, здравствуйте.
So let's get going. My name is Andrei, and I was going to start with the words. So today I came here to capture your brain. Now looking at you, I think, what am I going to do with so much brain? So I shall have to start differently. It's my fifth presentation on this PhD forum. I wonder if anybody attended all 5 PhD forums. You see, the old timers, Have anyone heard my all 5 presentations? Truly, I take my hat off before you. So, in front of you. So, I'm going to change my topic. So usually it's a competitive intelligence as part of open source intelligence. And usually this workshop was about 1 minute of my life. I try to do my things within my minute. I change my way. If my way works, it takes a minute. If it doesn't work, so within a minute I understand it doesn't. So today I'm going to tell you about 1 second in the analyst's life, when you got some information and you decide what to do with it next. So this is the very pivotal second, because what you do after that second is the follow-up. Once your brain decides to check if this data should be checked, not checked, use, not use, that is the question. And then you go follow the path that you have decided to take. So usually the seminar went this way. I started with some simple tricks, and the professional will forgive me. Google Dork professionals will forgive me. If we take a resource, or just the opposite, Google professionals consider me a dork. And then we look, John Kerry department, look at this address space, using confidential as a marker, and you start laughing. Then a more experienced person will use declassify author after. So I input, I open, and real confidential State Department documents open, and so professionals will wrinkle because of a very simple trick, and the journalists are happy. These are the real State Department documents that you can easily snatch from their resource. But in fact, I use something else. And after at the end of the seminar, I show them approximately this, like this. We take an internet resource, understand that it's managed by CMS and the database and some web environment. Then we would remember that any CMS can be identified through a command or plugin, or check if it is Bittrex or WP content, VP content. So you understand what kind of CMS is that, and then I know that there is a config file protected. But if you have a good admin, he will try to modify those basic setups. So when he does, the system will keep a backup config copy that is not protected. You just forget about it. If I guess the name because it's bug configuration or bug or whatever, or PHP, very few options. If I have enough experience to find the right one, so I will open your page with logins and passwords. How often does it work? So, once I needed to check some resource of a country who are not very respectful, and I found 67. So in 4 cases, this trick worked. So every 16th sysadmin does this mistake. So if it doesn't work, I have many tricks. And now I have approximately 700, so my chance to get to your data is quite good. But what happens next? It means that I hack. I do not use 0 days or vulnerabilities or information, because this is a very old trick, as old as the world. Because you forgot about it, you don't think it's... So it means that I hack into some device, and each system that we handle includes a processor, that's our brain, which has not been upgraded for 40,000 years, and we can confirm that it has never been upgraded. And the list of vulnerabilities was published for the first time in 258 BC, AD. And then that's when our programs stops working. So Yandex brings me news. He brought me, but when I asked Yandex to make a press photo, so Yandex put a wrong photo. So I guess every second person here was playing with the Microsoft age recognition system. So you try on yourself and happy you look young, and I tried to test it. Because I'm better in determining the age. Look at this. So when we start processing information, it immediately would be replaced by an image, and we cannot catch it. We fight for the image that we built. So if I give you an information, for instance, today for for breakfast I had an omelette. But if I give you an image, so before the Sochi Olympics, I saw that in the Charles de Gaulle airport there was Russian souvenir shops that was selling matryoshka dolls, and they were all made in China. So simple matryoshka dolls. So no image again, but no because Chinese goods are a stronger image than matryoshka. And if I drank vodka in Siberia, but turned out the vodka turned out to be Ukrainian. In Kiev 3 years ago, near Maidan, my friends gave me the delicious fat with vodka, and it was of Polish origin. So how come? My brain actually... So I didn't eat eggs for breakfast. You are still thinking, is it true that this Ukrainian buy Polish pork fat? Yes, they do. So there are some barriers that prevent us from perceiving information. And today I'm trying to draw your attention to some tricks that do not explode, that do not work on the first second and allow us to be infected by by third-party information. So before studying, let's make a test. So concentrate, please, and try to spend a second to understand this news. I got a letter. Congratulations, you won in the competition of the York University. You are now within the free of charge group in Toronto, strategic management. Follow this link, and
для размышлений.
input your personal data. I have never
Письмо отправлено с незнакомого адреса, который я первый раз вижу, который не имеет отношения
participated in
к
any
университету.
contest, so
ссылка ведет
unfamiliar
на
address, and the
незнакомый
link
ресурс,
goes to
который
a
тоже не имеет
resource
отношения к Йоркскому
that
университету.
has nothing to do with the
Ваша
York
реакция?
University. What's your response?
Спам, удалить.
Spam, delete, or what?
То есть смотрите, вы приняли решение, что это
So
спам.
you made a decision that that's spam.
Вы
Why?
не проводили экспертизы, вы не
You
знаете по сути.
did not analyze. You didn't do any tests. Fortunately, my computer was quite protected. When I was young, our chief engineer taught me one wise thing.
Они написаны 220 вольт.
So
Сунь пальцы. Ты будешь первым, кто точно знает, правда ли там 20.
if you have the mains in the wall, just put your fingers in it and you will make sure that it's to 220 volts. And now I know all the mains in my house.
Компьютер, я решил посмотреть, какой конкретно вид заражения
So
меня ждет.
if my computer is protected, so I decided to check what's that. So
Анкета
I
ругнулась,
clicked.
что, господин Масалович, вы искажаете свои персональные данные.
I clicked and I said I'm John Deere, but they
Телефон для подтверждения.
they said no, you're providing wrong data. Give me the phone number. So I gave wrong phone number. So in the evening,
Раздается звонок, женский голос
I'm
говорит,
getting
господин
a phone
Масалович,
call, and a voice says, Mr. Masalovich, why are you hiding from us?
мы оформляем группу второй, а вы
Because we are
куда делись?
processing the documents for the group in Toronto, and you are hiding away. So indeed, I won this trip, and I spent a wonderful summer in Toronto, learned this sustainability word. This is a wonderful, which doubled my salary and quadrupled my annual vacation. So 10 years later, I still understand where the catch was. So you see, you nearly sent me, you let yourself, you took a second just to cut me off from a grand opportunity. Can you imagine how many people failed to get the inheritance, from your rich uncle or whatever? That's true. This is very rare case, but you decided it was spam without checking. I did check, and it turned out to be good. The brain actually had to tell you it was spam. Then it's your free choice. You could select your path. If you just decide that it's spam without analyzing and don't check, then you lose an opportunity. So another test. I'm asking, I want to employ an assistant. And I will give you a photo and you decide if it is fake or not fake. So, good salary, for instance, I am ready to pay 2,600,000 rubles, and not much to do. Is it attractive? So looks like you are not. 2,600,000 rubles in a month I pay, so I have volunteers. All right, you have just signed up to be my slave with the basic salary, 1 ruble. I told you, it's a payment per second. When the number of activities you perform for me exceed 2 million rubles, I will pay you 2 million rubles. So there was one person only who counted to 1 million, and it took 3 months. So the brain replaced I caught you with this calculation trick. So let me show you something that I was trying to teach myself and others that help you to get rid of such vulnerabilities of your brain. So first, a person has no special organ for math. So after we count to 100, so the next number is many. If I throw the matches, on the table, you will see if it is 30 or 50, But if a dog or two attacks you, But if there are bees, but you will never tell, is 300 or 500 bees, so you cannot count after 100. Our brain cannot count after 100. So you have 1 second. How many people on the photo? I give you a clue. The photo is called Thousands of German prisoners in France. 2, 3, 10. 10,000.
Кто-нибудь считает, что на фотографии меньше 1000?
Maybe less than 1,000? Who thinks?
На фотографии реально меньше 1000.
Less than 1,000. There are 3 ways to estimate. First,
Тренировать глаз.
just train your
Вы
eye.
понимаете, почему это важно. Сейчас огромное количество спекуляций связано с
So there are so many speculations to estimate the number of people on the street. And sometimes they say it's 1,000 on the streets, but it's 50. So the first way is just, you count. That's how you count. 960 people here.
Так, приготовились?
Get ready.
Сколько?
How many people here?
Подсказываю, полк это от 500 до 200.
A military unit from 400 to 2,000.
О, смотрите, вы прошли только один тест, уже
It's only one test, but you are much more adequate. 500. Indeed, yes, you are closer. 540 people here.
Дальше.
Next.
200, 350.
300.
Хорошо.
Good.
Это очень важная фотография.
This is a very important photo. 25th of February 1917. That's the day when the bread was not brought, failed to bring to St. Petersburg, when the first turbulence started, without even just economic. There was nothing to eat, and people went out to the streets, and then the Cossacks fired, and after that these protests have become political, and then the February Revolution has occurred. So after looking at the photos, I have never seen a photo with more than 300 people. Here we approximately see 200. So social unrest in Paris. How many? 15. Well, you see, 3 seconds and you have become adequate. 17.
Выглядит, ваше сознание захватил телевизор.
So it's the TV that captures your consciousness. So why am I spending this time on it? Half of my life I lived under the slogan that once you own the information, you own the world. And whatever you do, it's information war. If you make gloves and someone else knits gloves, so it doesn't matter about the quality, but it matters if you have exposure and the clients. And I was very convincing. I believe that each one of us in life has had an episode that you would like to change back, rewind. If I were so smart as my mother-in-law is now, I wouldn't have done this or that. So just build it. It's called in math implication. And look at it, and you see that in the left side of this implication equation, you have something. I would not invest into a pyramid. I would not marry this girl or whatever. I would buy the right shares, not the wrong shares. But on the right-hand side, I would not. Same. If I were provided the adequate information at the start, so the information intelligence is the main thing. Until I noticed that the main issues
нет информации, а в тех,
do
когда
not
она есть, она
happen
неправильно интерпретирована.
when there is no information, but the wrong
Распознана.
moves happen
Ну,
when the
давайте, раз мы уже с
information
вами
is
тренированные, теперь
corrupt.
массовый тест.
So
Итак,
now another test for
6
you.
мая 2014 года некая гражданка
6th of
Машенко
May
в прямом эфире
2014,
говорит:
Julia
практически возле Кремля
says,
сегодня проходят демонстрации в поддержку Украины против Путина и против оккупации. Идут сотни тысяч россиян.
people
Они кладут на
demonstrate
плечи
against
желто-синие
Putin
флаги.
and
Они поют украинский
Russia.
гимн.
They, hundreds of thousands of Russians,
Одна секунда
you know,
определит
sing Ukrainian songs.
сотни там тысяч или меньше.
Hundreds of thousands. Could you see if there are hundreds of thousands
Вот,
people?
смотрите, вы все отреагировали
You know,
адекватно. На фото
yeah,
меньше 100
your
тысяч
response
человек.
is adequate. It's less than 100,000 people. There are no even
Хотя
hundreds, not
телевизор
thousands.
нас в форме
Though
схождения. Я
the
вот не хотел
TV
вести этот доклад, я хотел
keeps
выйти и
feeding
сказать,
us. I wanted to
доклад
come
будет
up and
дезинформация.
say we
Единственный
are talking
адекватный способ
about
отличить
the inadequate
информацию
information.
от дезинформации — это верить
The
нашему
only
Первому каналу и не верить остальным.
way to believe, to
Со мной не
understand
все
which
согласятся, но
information
шансов
is
нет. Надо
accurate
какие-то
is
способы
believe
вырабатывать
our
сами.
first channel. So
Итак,
we need to
второй способ
develop ways
провести
to
расчет
check the
на фото.
information.
Это
So try
смотреть
to
площадь.
calculate,
Ну, проще всего это сделать по
look at the
спутниковому снимку. Это занимает секунды по
acreage, you
Google.
know, just
Померить
go to
расстояние.
Google, measure
И
the
посчитать по
distance,
некой формуле. Вот здесь тоже
and
есть
use a
хитрушка. Все,
formula
кто пытается
to
так
count
делать, почему-то
people.
в эту формулу ставят
And
расчет, ну,
everyone who
примерно на
tries to
квадратный
do
метр
it
идет 4 человека.
somehow count 4
Залезьте в
people
душ
per
серого,
square meter.
поспойте,
Try
поорите лозунги.
to go to the shower booth,
Пригласите 50 человек, всех
4 of
встаньте
you,
и
and
поспойте, покричите
just
лозунги.
stand on 1 square
Модность
meter
толпы
and
другая. То
scream
есть 4 человека на метр — это
slogans.
давка.
4
Обычная формула
people per
расчета —
square
это
meter
10
is too
человек на
tight.
7,5 метра.
Usually it's almost
Вот так
approximately
выглядит
1 person per
30-я,
square
по-моему,
meter. So
площадь.
that's
Вот
how
по площади в мире это самое
the
площадь Мерсена в Северной Корее.
North Korean main
Когда
square
она
looks.
полностью заполнена, на
When
ней
it's
100
full,
тысяч человек. Вот
it
сейчас
can
внизу
hold, it
40
can
тысяч
stand
человек на фото.
100,000 people.
вот
That's
так
how
выглядит.
40,000 people. That's 35,000 people. That's
Так
this
получилось,
is
что Майдан, нам
Kiev,
пришлось там излазить
main
по
square.
кадрам вдоль и поперек, потому
We
что
studied the photos because there were too many snipers from here to here 170 meters and from here to here 200 meters. So at this photo we have approximately 35,000 people. There is no room for 50,000.
Сколько человек на этом фото?
How many here?
1000 с небольшой,
1,000.
чуть больше 1000.
How many
По площади
here?
вот здесь 20 тысяч.
20,000. You can count.
Значит, третий способ
So the
это
third
использовать
way
замеры.
is to use the special companies who measure, who calculate the numbers.
Но, к сожалению, у них тоже есть разброс.
Unfortunately, they have
МВД, ну, моя оценка,
ranges.
мы видим
So
суммарно чуть
the
больше.
Interior Ministry, so my estimation is slightly over 50 because they, when they walk, they take more space than 1 square meter per person. Interior Ministry 21, mob counter 27, white counter 51, Gary Kasparov 500,000. Kasparov is a famous chess player, so he thinks it's 500,000. That's true. That's true. He said up to 500,000.
До 500. Дальше.
Then.
Очень полезный начальный прием.
A very good
Перед тем,
trick
как вы
before
обрабатываете
you
какое-то,
process
попало
a
какое-нибудь
message.
сообщение, вот, поскольку он нигде не написан, считаем, что я его сам придумал.
So
часто делаю настроение,
let's invent one.
заголовок,
Just
слово
add
«опять»
into the
или
header
«тоже».
a word
Ну,
to
одно
or
дело,
also
там,
or as
чиновника
well.
Городадминистрации поймали на взятке. Добавляйте тоже.
For instance, if someone was caught taking a bribe, if you add that he again was caught, so you see that it's not news, it's something that has been repeated. So Putin's days are counted.
Добавляем опять.
And adding again, Putin's days are counted again. So the first time they had been counted in 2004. In 2012, Russia is not going to tolerate the corrupt government. So in 2012, so again, very simple trick. Add again, also as well. So check proof link to the root cause. Until you don't have it, it's a grapevine, it's a rumor. So at the Moscow government website, we got a Beria's photo. So experienced journalist write that has immediately been deleted and linked to the web page where it's no more there. How can you do that? If you like or tag everything that you want, so there would be a profile. It's clear who you are and why you do that. So to prevent that from happening, immediately on my iPad, I store my screenshot to see that I saw it, you know. But if you see some information and believe, so immediately, before even you think about the info, automatically you have to do it. You click it, make a screenshot to keep this page. And there's one trick. And the journalists know about it in cases when the source could be deleted, could have been deleted. Something has to be done. You have to fix it. The simplest is...
Потрясающе легко подделать. Есть второй способ. Это интернет.
There is another way. So the special program.
Ну ладно, сейчас, наверное, дальше. Есть специальные программы.
There's a special programs which allow to find that this page should look like this way, not any other way. And I recommend you use it. So when the journalists say that they haven't gotten it because they are being sly, because it's a good journalist always immediately catches something that's valuable. And so then it's all availability, and so it's a resolution type of gadget you have, and it is reflected differently, the quality is different, and so always reflect. So by the fraudsters, so they see differently too. So those who fraudsters against the providers, so they use that and they know it very well. But the second thing is when the screen can be replaced, changed. So then the .us, which saves, but it does not save CSS or a picture. So if you replace the fonts or pictures, so then the page will open up completely different. So now it's, this moment of the picture look like this. So I can guarantee, because if the fraudster, the miscreant, knew what he wanted to replace the picture, can replace the picture very well. You will never know about it. Another method, if you, for example, if you see somebody's quote, it's a fake. Yeah. So there's a famous quote by Lenin. Because people believe in quotes. It's amazing. So if you see quote, it means that they're lying, because they are very much into quotes. But always, the moment you see a quote, don't believe it. It's a lie. And sometimes it's wrong interpretations, so people are gullible. And so, for example, Zhirinovsky say that my mom is a Jew and my father is a Russian, and this is wrong. And so that's why they think that, for example, like every cook, so should manage the state, but actually Lenin wanted to say something else, that every cook should educate herself, or should study to later become a person who can help to run the state. And so, for example, or an American so said, you should stop having sex with your husband, because your children will have to go to Afghanistan. And so for this, a Russian woman answered that American woman that we don't have sex with our husband, we have love with our husband. Okay, no sex with my husband. So then another just introduction of false materials, information materials, so kind of bolus injection of false materials, and so which are misinterpreted later, and because it's originally allegedly is a big lie. For example, so there is simple bots are used for that. So, for example, you call it the reference explosion or link explosion. So, if you see something new, it's a big discussion of something new, and everyone participates and discusses, has his own viewpoint, whatever. For example, a bank is being bankrupted, right? And then, so just Google it and find it through Twitter, and immediately you will see, if you see this picture, it means that there will be lots of big lies, just will go into it. It means that someone started to talk about this information. Everyone just joins in and starts to put this information. So even if they show the originals of old documents, so it could be still disinformation. So for example, so before the events in Khalkhin-Gol, so the Japanese special services printed old maps that were wrong. And so that's why the Soviet army did not know where to attack, and actually the railway came very close to the water body, so even the originals from old documents is not an argument and is not a proof, because everything is doctored, but some thought it was a collector item, and so they were selling them as originals, but they were not originals. And there was a big misleading point. So then, for example, they say, so in sound mind and sound body, and mens sana and corpore sano. So then, but in original, so we need to pray to have sound mind and sound body. So completely different. Or, for example, this is our perception. So then, for example, video footage. We need always a video to lie. And so that we could respond in emotional fashion. So, for example, so then, so you can see, if you see a picture, you start believing it. And so the Ukrainian refugees so are running from Ukraine. So then a lot of pictures, a lot of photographs, so always lots of Photoshop, and so sometimes they are very well made, and so very meticulously worked out, and you don't know, some are made in very talented fashion, some less talented. So for example, two different events that occurred in different places, but you see this, they look very similar. All doctored. So, for example, the Crimean events and the events in Kharkov. So, two different events, but look exactly the same. And then, so then there is a specially staged picture, and so it's not a lie. It's a specially formed image of a person to make you emotional, to make you express your emotions. So because this picture never took place. In reality, it's not a picture. So because, so for example, this woman so is screaming, lying, and crying, and something is burning behind her, and she's distraught. She's dying. But this is all, it's not doctored. It's not real. And in an interview, someone said, I should be in the front line because I want to document the harsh sides of the war. And then when they asked me to comment on this, so then it turned out that it was a lie. It was a lie. And 6 hours later, so the place is completely clean. So staged photograph, so like on the stage of a theater. So we are living in the epoch of staged photographs. doctored photographs. So it's a huge non-stop, line of fakes, all fakes. So then the reburial of certain heroes, and then usually, so the sign that it's a doctored, it's a fake photograph. It's small details, small details. So sometimes they want to create an image, emotional image. So because if there were no witnesses, very difficult just to put it together. That's why the video footage or several pictures put together. That's a good example. So there's a poor military guy, there's wounded combatant. So he's got problems with his left hand. So this on the 18th, and the same guy next day. So but another his right arm is bandaged now. I'm not. So you see that one day, so it was his left arm is in the cast, so now the right is in the cast, and unfortunately the brain is defenseless against those manipulations. Because this is a strange way. So we can do this impact influence. This impact occurs, and then you are in this bad guy's power, or it doesn't go. So, for example, in the restaurant, so they held an experiment. So 3 waitresses, and so they were taking their tips. So one waitress, so when he was taking another, he would just put a candy on the table of the clients, and so we have an action, we have a promotion. So every guy gets a candy who comes into the restaurant. The second just would put 2 candies on the table to those who come. So these waitresses at the end of the day, so the amount of it was the same, the amount that they got. Although just he put this 2 candies and 1 candy, so the budget was twice as large. But then the third ones would put the table, so candy, and said, so we have a promotion, and then he turned back and then came back and then said, no, but for you it's 2 candies, and what was the effect? 25%. So he got more money. So the tip grew 25%. So it's an impact, because 1 or 2 candies is the same, but when he goes, everyone 1 candy, but you're supposed to get 2 candies. So that's from me personally. So the tip went up 25%. And this is then the electronic media. So they did not understand this problem at the beginning, so they were not aware of it. Because they publish advertising, commercials, some people respond, so then there is another commercial, some other people respond, more people, less people respond, and there was even this joke that half of the money spent on advertising is wasted, but we don't know which half, first or second. A famous joke, and then so there is another dimension now added to it, because now it's possible not only just to infect the guy, but you make him infect other guys once he's infected, so then to pass it on. Period, post, comment, post, so then you start spreading this. So because the best medicine against it, for it, when you do the repost, so look, well, this is horrible, this is disgusting. So because you are the contagious, you are the carrier of the contagion. You need to realize that, even if you say that it's bad, what I'm going just to resent to you. So, but when it has grown to the size of epidemics, and so the information that kind of disappeared. So you remember this, I had a good presentation, for example, yes, of beach days last year, so it was put in, so 10,000 likes I got. But a famous lady gamer, so got 1 million. She doesn't say a word. She doesn't say a word. She never just looked back. Yeah, but you see the difference, 10,000 likes and 1 million likes. And so then the efficient impact consists of 2 parts. This is to to generate an uncontrolled emotion in you, to generate this uncontrolled emotion. And it's very easy, and to make you angry, to make you irate, to make you unhappy and unprotected. There's a book, not many know about these pictures, and if they want just a sustainable infection of big audiences, so there are very few books about that. But the first example of this mass infection, this epidemic, so this heart looks like a heart. So even in the epoch of pagers many years ago, so there's one company that was no different from other companies. They just added as their symbols that they were sent by SMS. They just added little heart, and those hearts started to immediately. So the company just got 40% market share. Because Docomo, so because there's all these little hearts, you still remember the name, and it's still there, 40%. So how this epidemics is expanding? So the governor Zelenin put a worm in Instagram, and 2 days later, so this information went through the Russian boundaries, and the official Western media had 149 publications about this worm immediately, and many years ago, a guy made a fake page, hacked the site, and so that Bill Gates was killed by a sniper bullet. So that was April the 1st, 2003. Maybe they forgot about it. And then a week later, the Chinese published this information, and not saying that was the Fool's Day. And then from China, so the information got into the the traders gaming terminals. And before so for 15 minutes before, they did not realize that it was a April Fool's Day. So the index went down 1.5%. So they opened short positions, started to sell short, and they lost $3 billion in a matter of several minutes. So they made. Then the famous girl in Russia, Russian language internet, it's Alena Pisklova. I thought 10 years ago. Let me remind you what happened 10 years ago. 2004 in Russia, there was the final of the competition, the world beauty, whatever. So then, so first they had to pay for it, and so that everyone could contribute. There's a girl from Barybina, a schoolgirl, Alena, and so she was cut off because she was too old. And then so two girls from Barybina, they decided to do something special. So they decided to name her. They thought up a name, Pisklova, and so they decided just to put together this fake. And there was the questionnaire of the participants. So Alena Pisklova was the participant of the beauty contest. And then then her father, Lieutenant Dan Grishin, was their father, and who liked not the idea he liked, but of this fake, but he liked the image. So that there's a girl, the image of a Russian girl. She is kind of on the fat side. She is pleasantly plump, so she has no chance to win the beauty contest because they impose on us the images of much hated Barbie girls, thin and wiry. And so that's why it continued. And so no money was involved, and so they started two parallel campaigns. So one, I vote for Alena, so which is the beauty contest Miss the Universe 2004, and then there appeared vote for Alena, and so then the site without that button. So they didn't discard it. So that's why everyone just would come to dancing. So with I vote for Yelena. So then McDonald's, flash mobs, and it started to snowball and snowball. I vote for Alena. So no to Barbie. So 40,000 votes. So then the voting was stopped because she immediately got 40,000 votes. She was far ahead of anyone else. And then there was demonstrations. So why are you hiding Alena from us? Because she didn't come to the finals to go to America because she was too old. And then she was rejected because she was so. It's a wonderfully made fake. It's not a matter of money, but it can finish. It can end in bad implications. And this is very bad. This is exactly what I'm doing. So I'm not dealing in rats, no, but how to stop that. So for example, so today's life, small picture. It's a very big company, very serious medical company, and very good equipment, wonderful equipment, the MRT, so costing millions and millions of dollars. And so they made a promotion so that anyone. So do you know? Do you know this company? Oh, that's the company that manufactures CT machines. Yeah, so they wanted to achieve that. And so then the competitors, so they tried to respond. So they bought the same kind of CT and they did the same kind of diagnostics, and they said that it's cheaper, better, but available. So they were the main competitors. But we live in the world of virtual environment, and some of the competitors maybe just a high school student, so that got paid 3,000 rubles, and so they made an explosion in Twitter, and so the whole Russia. So they spoke about it. It's in this hospital, on the third floor. There is a rat running around, and. So that's it. There is a rat. So no one knows whether it was true, whether there was a rat running, or there was no rat running on the third floor. But it's too late. So the question, we don't know whether it's not. No one cares. Was there a rat or there was no rat? So now just 2 months have passed, and so they're spending all the budget to refute. But if you take a guy just in the street, an average, and speak about this, there will be 2 questions. So I haven't heard about this company. Oh, so that's that. Those are the guys who are selling equipment, and so the rat is running just somewhere there. And so that's what they will think. So they completely destroyed the image, and this is this is why. So how to protect that? How to stop that? Or genocide in Rwanda. So when we had a Ponzi scheme in Russia in 1994, there was a military coup d'etat in Rwanda, and so there was a mass slaughter. So 3 nations were killing each other, and the Tutsi were persecuted, and they really killed them by hundreds of thousands. So 500,000 people were slaughtered. Up to 1 million people of Tutsi were slaughtered, and so 90% of the people of Tutsi were killed. Genocide. And so one of the studies proved. So he took a map of Rwanda, and Rwanda is a country of 1,000 hills. That's how they refer to it. And at that time in Rwanda, there was only one radio station. It's called the radio station of 1,000 of hills. The 1,000 hills country. So it has only one transmitter, and so then he put this radio station on the map of Rwanda, and covered the good reception signal, and the station was saying the same thing. So they didn't have, they didn't say kill a potato bug, but they were saying kill a cockroach, and so they covered 90% of the territory. And so, for example, if the territory was not covered by the radio signal, so with the message "kill a roach," "kill a Tutsi," so no one was killing anyone. But if they were just getting this signal, sustainable, good signal, "kill a roach," so covered 3 adjacent villages immediately. So they ganged up, and went to kill the Tutsi people. And but now the internet has a very reliable, sustainable coverage and good signal, and that is why they're saying kill a roach, kill a potato bug, kill a Russian. and it worked. So they immediately gang up and went to kill. And so that's why we need to identify those things so that affect people's minds, people's conscience, or people's subconsciousness.
Сегодня у меня час, этот час потихонечку.
So the time is almost up,
Хотел я все равно.
and I will never be able to speak about everything I wanted to. But what we need to look at, so information by itself is nothing.
То, что мы воспринимаем,
And what we see, how we view it, always carries something. There's a capsule summary of a guy who handles this puppet. And so because it's tabula rasa, it's empty. But for example, if you create an image, so let me show you, and you'll see the response, right? So we react, we respond to an image. For example, this one.
образ появляется.
So image is coming in, image is coming in, image is coming in. You see this and this, we have seen them already, right? We have seen them before.
Не заметил.
And no one noticed that. No one noticed because we had them before. Because this is a sheet of paper,
Под другим ракурсом.
but from a different angle. And this is the same sheet of paper, but with different light. It's lighted different. This is the empty glass. Stained glass. And so, but you don't see the picture, but you see an image. You see what does it tell us? So in the 50s, Jacques Baudrillard, a philosopher, so they say that the images they are stronger than reality. First, in politics, images stronger than reality. So why, for example, so the election program, one candidate that you voted for is better than this. Than the second candidate's so voting program. So because you vote for an image rather than for something substantial. Because you know, for example, the Bavarian car. What happens? The Bavarian car. So it's a similar Bavarian car. It's a Bavarian car. That's an image. Bavarian car. A Bavarian passenger car. So just I would just go around in Bavaria. So people, so the Bavarians live there, and they was taking pictures. So a Bavarian car is something else. So a BMW and Audi. So I saw some of them, but usually it's Wi-Fi, casino or a tourist, because the Bavarians don't buy expensive cars. And so there were different brands, but much cheaper brands. It means that the image is not related to its substance. So, for example. Simulacre, or a copy. It's a very old Greek word, so meaning that there is the shell, but there is no substance. It's nothing inside. A simulacre, and so it says to make believe, to pretend, a copy. So, for example, so a sculptor made a beautiful sculpture of a beautiful woman. It does not mean that a real woman existed. That's set for him. And so then, so when eventually we find ourselves in an environment which has no reality, no substance. It's all big simulacre. So another book. So there was no war in the Bay. When it discusses the war in the Persian Gulf, when so the desert storm war, and because what actually was covered by the media and what was in reality, they're absolutely two different things, completely divorced from any sense of reality. And then eventually, so these simulacres came to our lives. So, for example, a trip and a walk in Kolomna, a small town. For example, that's a good example of manipulation. An old Russian town of Kolomna, 100 kilometers, of February last year. And in Russia, so they're waiting for the finals of the Olympics, and they're rooting for the Russian skiers. And in Europe, they're waiting for sanctions. And in Ukraine, they are involved in Maidan. And then there is a children's festival. It's lots of kids in Kolomna. So beautiful old Kremlin, beautiful fortress, a beautiful city, all fixed up and nice and immaculate. And then there is this picture. So in the center of Kolomna, so crowds of kids just walk around, and then all of a sudden they see a little kitten, disheveled, wet, and so the kitten doesn't like it. But one of the kids just comes up and says, "So look at this kitty, wonderful kitty. What's his name?" And then I lean over and say, "You know, this kid's name is Shawarma. So call him. Call to him. And then in the center of Kolomna, so the video cameras and foreign journalists, videotaping, so you can see this poor little cat, and then the kids are chasing the poor kitten, and they are all yelling shawarma, shawarma, shawarma. Can you just scale up? So just crowds of cruel kids are chasing the poor kitten, yelling shawarma. So what would the So it's a game. So this humanitarian catastrophe. The sanctions work. The sanctions work. The poor Russian hungry kids are chasing after poor little kittens, crying shawarma, shawarma, because they're ready to eat cats. And so this is it. So Mr. Putin certainly will not just stoop down to say that, but Peskov will say, "So are you out of your minds?" And so we don't have famine in Russia. So there is no catastrophe in Russia. And we have no kids chasing poor kittens to eat them. But you have to justify yourself. And so can you imagine if there is a guy who saw it? What would be his response? So I never liked Putin, but I was apprehensive of Mr. Putin, but he never lied. But now Mr. Putin lied, because I saw with my own eyes, and 100 kilometers from Moscow, so little kids are chasing poor kittens, crying shawarma, shawarma. And I don't believe Mr. Putin anymore, because he has been, now I know for a fact that he's a liar. This is it. It works. And so if you include this analysis of the personality of the puppeteer, then you see what kind of how detrimental it can be. But if you live in the internet, so because everyone just went on internet, but if you don't do any special actions, and if you don't, so you have three roles on the internet. You either the kids, who chase the poor kitten yelling shawarma, or you are honest journalists who see everything with their own eyes, just like this, what they see with their own, or you are this little kitten that is all of a sudden chased by a group of kids. And unfortunately, and this is not true, everything is just a series, a ring, a chain of lies. So now just information is not only just to find information, to gather information, to look for information, but what's more important is to analyze this information, to counteract so these things, and to look for the puppeteer, who is always behind. So then I showed you a piece of paper that looks like a woman's bosom. But I can show you the real naked breasts of a woman, and no one would notice it. For example, I just shown one, and no one paid attention. Okay. So now the time is up. So what do we do? So we finish up, right?
Хорошо. Ну, я тоже не спешу, я просто не знаю, какая действительность. Ну, давайте следующая засечка 15 минут, ну, а там посмотрим. Наверное, уже можно будет принять решение. Вот, считаем, что у нас есть 15 минут. Итак, следующая часть нашей жизни.
And so next part of our life is flash mobs. When the reality becomes a mass reality. We don't understand what this is all about. This is London Metro. That's what it looks like once in a while. So that's another very professional types of distortion of reality, when a picture is formed at the same time. So a picture in the same circumstances, but does not reflect reality. For example, this is a real fact. There is an attack of Israeli Special Forces squad, and so it should be certain on the news, hot news, and the journalists. Certainly, the journalists will never just allow just to come to the to those special weapons and SWAT team. And but other just squad team guys who are not participating in that attack, so because they're just different squad team, but they do it anyway, so they just pose, and because it's not a real attack, so other guys participate in that, and so then so the whole picture is set on a different environment, different setting. So another puppeteer that we never take into consideration. For example, so then another, so infection, contagion that you pass, and you want just to make you spread this information further. And then the target audience, who are we going to affect, which audience you want to impact. And so, for example, so in 2003 in the United States, there was a 100th anniversary of Harley Davidson, and I visited the States many times, so there was a mass hysteria, so beer, so lots of noise, fights, fist fights, then certain motorcycles. So it was so there was a mass fighting, and then the police got involved, and someone apologized. So then they say 99% of the motorcyclists are decent people, but the idiots only 1%. And then half of the United States of America just came out with wearing those leather jackets and the name, so 1%, so meaning that they associated them with 1%. And so then how to increase the sales? It was done just to increase the sales of Harley Davidson. And so they did something. So the guy just is riding the motorcycle, beautiful lady sitting inside, so naked breast, and so it's wonderful. Just, and the sales didn't go up, and the traffic the same. So the target audience, they're wrong, because the buyers is a man of 46 years of age, with an average annual income more than $80,000 a year, and at that time an average salary was about 15,000 rubles a month, which is $500. And so there is no beautiful girl just behind, because no beer in his hand, because he moved over. And so then the guy just wants to drive in a big black limo, and they're not after. So that's why this campaign fizzed out. So nothing. That's why now we need to pay attention not only to the information, to the impact, the image, and the simulacrum, but we need to always look for the target audience. And if this starts to develop, continues to develop, so then there are certain markers, so that to ensure that this is a mass craze. So then the mass, so then influence leaders, and if we know how to work with them, so we know how to identify them, where to go, and if we process information properly, then we always can forecast when this will, whether there will be a wave or there will be no wave. Like last year in October, I showed you 2013 in Berylova, and October the 10th in Berylova, so a guy from Caucasus so killed a Caucasian guy, so the guy from the Caucasus killed the white guy, and then there were mass riots, hostilities, and it was just unexpected even for the law enforcement authorities. It was quite unexpected. But the system that was supposed to monitor and so to give an early warning, and so the system worked, and so then the alarm light went off, and so they knew something was going wrong, and not because the internet exploded, but because the integrators caught this idea. So then two extremists, so then I am Russian, and so this extremists, then the active, so the red light went on, so 3 hours before it started, and they started to coordinate. So it's time we stop. So taking this from the guys from the Caucasus, and the police is doing nothing, sitting on their hands, and so then we need to do something. So we have had enough. We have to fight those bad guys, and And so then the specifics, how just this information distributes. So when they got the target audience correctly. So they infected them. So if certainly we knew how to do that, how to avoid that, how to stop this from expanding, and so we could have stopped that event. And so then this avalanche program and so I can conclude, make a quick overview. So we, without even understanding what's going on, so we moved into the world where each system related to internet needs to learn how to collect information, proper information, but to get information, but to determine whether this information is right or wrong. Does it have any infection components? Does it have any suggestions that it might wind up being an epidemic? So just we need to understand. So when this wave covers our target audience, because so kill a potato bug, and then we need to know just what to do to combat that. And this is very important. This is for your consideration. That's good food for thought. What needs to be done to stop that? So this is the geography of my business trips: Bishkek, Tashkent, Minsk, Astana, Tallinn, Kiev, Crimea. I've been. I was in September 1913 in Crimea. So what was so quiet, so nice? Why did they invite me to Crimea? 1913. So I saw blood on the pavement many times, and then I saw many times when you just all you had to do is just to turn off the light, and nothing would have happened. So if you switch the circuit breaker into the off position in a timely fashion, then you could have predicted, you could have prevented many things that unfortunately we have not prevented and not precluded. And that's why it's not only collecting information, but to counteract the dissemination of wrong information. You can always find it in the February issue of Forbes magazine. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Да, конечно.
У меня вот такой вопрос. Почти на все приемы проверки информации, которые вы показывали, есть определенные инструменты. Например, там фотки можно сопоставить через TNI, который сервис находит оригинал. Или вот у вас сейчас в одном из последних слайдов мелькнул, как я понимаю, пульс Яндекса, да, который выявляет ссылочный взрыв.
К сожалению, выявлял.
Да, выявлял, умер. Но есть аналоги. Я вот еще хочу спросить. А не получится ли так, что обилие этих инструментов само по себе нивелирует вот эту вот угрозу? То есть люди, как только появляется фейковое фото, автоматически очень много людей выявляют то, что оно фейковое, и в связи с этим люди просто не верят в целом. Поэтому угроза в целом сваливается. То есть мы живем в таком, начинаем жить в состоянии, когда мы в целом не верим. И если число этих неверующих сильно растет, то вот, собственно говоря, вам и победа. Нет?
Почти так, за двумя исключениями. Первое, голову достаточно откусить один раз. То есть второй раз человек уже не даст, но второй раз откусывать нечего. То есть любой новый прием один раз срабатывает. Вот. Любые известные приемы второй раз уже почти не срабатывают. Ну и, кстати сказать, есть прием, который срабатывает годами, вот, и мы о нем не задумываемся. Никогда не замечали, часто на вокзалах висит надпись «Будьте аккуратны, кладите кошелек в защищенные места, потому что на вокзале орудуют карманники». Вот. Знаете, кто вешает эти объявления? Карманники. Человек машинально проверяет, где у него кошелек, а он стоит, смотрит. Вот. То есть сам по себе инструмент не спасение, это раз. Вот. Второе, собственно, предмет моего доклада, с чего я начинал, я, правда, потом вот с основной темы ушел, что все, что мы делаем во вторую далее секунду, это экспертизы, которые мозг назначил в первую. То есть в первую секунду наша реакция подсознательна. Блин, фейк. Ух ты, не фейк. То есть либо мы верим и уже должных экспертиз не назначаем, либо мы не верим и тогда там что-то делаем. Ну что ж, есть еще вопрос?
Все-таки меня зовут Дмитрий. Интересует не проблема поиска и анализа информации, а все-таки как предотвратить выброс какой-то реакции людей, которые эту информацию так или иначе проанализировали. Потому что, ну да, мы можем понять, это фейк, а люди, которые, ну так сказать, недалекого ума, они поведутся и выйдут на улицу, выйдут куда-то еще и будут какие-то активные действия проводить. Как вот вовремя выключать те или иные рубильники? И кто это делает?
Длинный, классный вопрос, спасибо. Ответ длинный, потому что на разных стадиях ранние меры. Итак, начало вопроса. Наша деревня находится в низине, на горе стоит излучатель, который лупит «убей таракана». Аудитория не подготовлена и вот-вот поведется. Наши действия. Первое. Посадить снайпера, снять и исключить излучение с той стороны. Ну, то есть обезвредить излучатель любым способом. Обезвредить, чтобы он заткнулся. Раз. Второе. Переоблучить сознание. Третье. Остановить эпидемию, то есть ограничить их возможность поделиться этим с другими. Ну, то есть глушить обсуждение на ветках обсуждений, подменяя его более правильным и нейтральным. Это то, что касается ранней стадии. Второе. Некоторая реакция, эмоция переходит в публичное выступление, которое приводит к негативным последствиям по одному, даже не одним, а одному и тому же сценарию. Первое – это честный выплеск недовольства с честными лозунгами, под которыми я тоже подпишусь. Раз. Выходит толпа, елки, у нас отняли голосование. У нас отняли голосование, все было плохо, нечестно и ужасно. Этап второй. Толпа уже на улице и не видит, как ей подменяют лозунги. То есть начинается подмена лозунгов. Если это знать, в этот момент можно это предотвратить, пока они не стали совсем чужими. Третье. Происходит сакральная жертва. То есть человек в костюме полицейского убивает человека в костюме подростка. Вот. Все арабская весна, их было не 4, их было 15. Все начинались так. Вот. После сакральной жертвы возникает финальный лозунг «Долой такую власть». После этого следующий обязательный шаг должны образоваться отморозки, которые за живым щитом из реально честных людей пойдут громить правительственное здание или уже предпринимать какие-то конкретные шаги. Каждый из этих шагов, если его знать, он делается по одной и той же методичке, которая уже 10 лет. Вот их каждый можно остановить.
А скажите, пожалуйста, а если применить те методы, которые вы сейчас обозначили, к информационной войне на Украине, которая ведется, то есть наша пропаганда долбит их пропаганда долбит нас, как тут можно поступить, чтобы все это закончилось наконец-то?
Ну, смотрите, одной из самых главных проблем, собственно, которые я подводил, но вы мне так и не поверите, это то, что ваша реакция на информацию будет неправильной, потому что у вас пораженный процессор, и у вас есть личная вовлеченность. Это враги, это свои, это чужие. В момент начальной обработки нужно абстрагироваться. Если абстрагироваться, то древние говорили, тот, кто глупый лезет в драку, чтобы подраться, умный лезет в драку, чтобы победить, а мудрому нужен мир. Мудрый избежит драки, чтобы... Мудрому нужен мир. То есть надо думать не о том, как замочить Украину или как это щелкнуть по носу штатам. Надо нарисовать некоторую точку Б, то есть модель мира, которая нас устроит, и в нее идти. То есть мы не сражаемся с войной, мы должны сражаться за мир. И если это не понимать, то жертва будет множиться. Это раз. Второе, пропагандистской войны сейчас нету, потому что с той стороны средства разворовываются, там большая часть работает дилетантов. Это очень сильно упрощает задачу. Там регулярных таких частей, спецназа информационной войны почти не наблюдается, вот, к счастью. Третье. Сейчас все-таки, к счастью, опять же, большая часть новых приемчиков, они одноразовые. Народ получает прививку, и второй раз уже на подобный эффект не поведется. То есть один раз вот это пережив, можно там спокойно воспринимать действительность дальше. Ну и самое грустное, не то, что цензура нужна, но вот излучатели, которые долбят «убей таракана», надо выводить из строя. Тут никуда не деться. То есть мы люди мирные, мы боремся за мир, но есть вещи, которые надо затыкать на корню. Да. Ну все, наверное, последний вопрос тогда и прощаемся.
Андрей, здравствуйте. Я хотела у вас узнать, есть ли какие-то методы такой самостоятельной человеческой борьбы, например, с тем же, проанализировали спам и понимаете, что ваши друзья, коллеги делятся каким-то адовым спамом, совершенно невообразимым, да, то есть лохотрон, попали в него и активно пиарят. Есть ли какие-то методы воздействия на это? То есть, кроме игнорирования. Я могу проигнорировать, не написать ничего или сообщить персонально человеку. Но, может быть, я могу куда-то пожаловаться, заблокировать полностью эти ссылки, чтобы кто-то это отслеживал.
Если это действительно серьезно, и вы опасаетесь там за психическое здоровье или кошелек, вот, то если угроза правоохранения, это правоохранитель, если угроза основам государства, это ФСБ, если угроза короне, это ФСО, если это стихийное бедствие, это МЧС. То есть если действительно ситуация требует вмешательства серьезных людей, они все уже достаточно адекватны и хорошо подготовлены. Это официальная сторона. Неофициальная сторона, я вас научу самому главному приему. То есть надо пригласить снайпера, снять, обезвредить передатчик, раз. То есть не самому это не делать, но попросить кого-нибудь, чтобы этих заткнули. Это можно заткнуть. Вот. И второе, мы, чтобы вылечить, должны не игнорировать, если он уже облучен, мы должны переоблучить. Делается это таким образом. А вот неопровержимое свидетельство, что Боинг сбила все-таки Россия, конкретно по приказу Путина. Неправильный ответ, нет, покажите, нет, это фейк, да что вы ведетесь, да вы поддались на пропаганду. Правильный ответ, кстати, реально, вы видели по интернету бродит ролик, там говорящий арбуз в образе Псаки, говорит совсем на эту тему. Вам показать? Показать? Все, я проблему решил, я аудиторию увел на себя. Она уже, и через 5 минут она забудет про Боинг, она будет смотреть мой говорящий арбуз. Вот. Ну что ж, как всегда, было приятно общаться, спасибо.